common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And now let's go to Miranda Devine of the New York Post. Miranda, you are talking about the weaponizing of DOJ. Explain, because boy, whoever comes in now and replaces Gates, because he obviously withdrew. I think you need a warrior in there to clean things up, whoever it is.
Yeah, you do need a warrior, but you don't need one that has baggage, because they're going to come at you every which way. You need just a really tough guy who's beyond reproach. So let's hope that happens. But look, I think there's so much to clean up. And there's one perfect example is this very senior former FBI agent, a guy by the name of Zach Stoffel, who's like out of central casting, the absolutely perfect FBI agent, 16 years, as honest as the day is long. And he was pressured to sign off on a search warrant for the phones of these Patriot Front. They're nuts, but they hadn't committed any crime. There was no probable cause, as court found later, for them to be arrested or for their phones to be searched. And the Department of Justice and the local Idaho U.S. Attorney's Office was putting pressure on Zach Stoffel, he was actually the supervisor, on his agents to sign off on this completely bogus warrant that was trying to say that these guys, that they picked up 30 guys dressed identically, they picked up in a U-Haul truck on their way to a pride parade in Idaho that they were going to protest, but they had no weapons. They were not, had no violent intent.
And then what happened, right? And it was 31 guys, right? 31 guys. And then what happened? He got forced out, right?
He was terminated.
Fired.
He got terminated.
He backed his two agents who said, we can't sign this search warrant. You don't have probable cause. This is not legitimate. You've made up all this stuff about January 6th in the warrant and Charlottesville. These guys had nothing to do with January 6th. They weren't in a car that killed someone in Charlottesville. The warrant was so over the top, and it was all because the Biden administration and Merrick Garland had put out this new edict, which was that the biggest threat facing America was white supremacist domestic terrorism. And the problem for them was they couldn't find any. So with these Patriot Front bozos in Idaho, they thought, perfect, we've got the perfect fall guys, we're going to stitch them up. And it's been an unmitigated disaster. And this honest FBI supervisor, who's one of the top guys, he was in charge of all of northern Idaho, he gets forced out. So it's a textbook case of how law enforcement in the Biden administration and the Obama administration was weaponized.
Miranda, before we let you go, two things. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this guy and others, the good folks in there who said we got to treat people fairly and equitably. Will they come back? I'm also curious what's going to happen. President Trump has said that he will look at case by case basis on the January 6th cases, because, some of them are there for just happen to be in the area. Or walking through. There's others, obviously, if there's an assault on a cop, that's obviously a very different story. But there's a lot that, we're just walking through, the doors were open and they're rotting in solitary. That doesn't seem right.
No, exactly. And especially at the same time when we have this report out today that John Solomon's broken about how the Capitol Hill policeman who fatally shot Ashley Babbitt during the January 6th riots, he got then a $36,000 bonus. He got promoted. Nancy Pelosi treated him like a god, protected him from having his identity known for ages, and then organized a nice little interview with Lester Holt. He has a lengthy disciplinary record that includes gun violations, a whole lot of other problems. And this is a man who really has got off scot-free because Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats were quite happy about the fact that Ashley Babbitt was killed, and they totally beat up the violence that day and lied and said that Capitol police officers were killed, and somehow this was a justification for Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed, small female veteran. She was shot by this Capitol police officer who only...
And she had no gun. She had nothing. They just shot her, and they hit everything.
Yeah, now we're finding so many details about that guy. Miranda, thank you so much. Such great stuff.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We love having you on, Miranda. Very eye-opening.